Hi everyone. So I wanted to make a quick video about what it's like working for more of a smaller type of company doing Salesforce administration. So in prior videos I talked about more of enterprise situations where there's a lot of process and procedures that you need to follow. With smaller companies though, it can be just the opposite. Sometimes there's almost like not enough process. If maybe you're the only admin that's in the org making changes, and then it's not that big of a deal. And actually, with smaller companies, that's probably going to be the case most often. You always hear the story of, I was the accidental admin, right? So maybe you're doing some other type of work supporting a sales team, and they ask you to go in and make some changes into Salesforce, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're the expert. So you're usually in the role then of trying to put together that sort of process so that other people can follow in your footsteps. So when you're working for a smaller company, you have to be thinking, or at least I would recommend you be thinking of, what are the things that you can do to make it easier for you to move on to another role? So you're not kind of trapped doing the same thing forever, and you don't need to feel bad about moving on to another job. You should try to make it easy for someone else to fill your shoes. So, for example, if you're the only one in there, I suppose you could start making changes in production just directly. And for a lot of things, I don't know, maybe it doesn't make sense. A lot of people seem to recommend like never make any changes directly in prod and always do it in a sandbox first. So you can sort of start to experiment with those things and kind of learn what the pitfalls are of doing things directly in production. And there's also pitfalls with doing things in sandboxes too. So a lot of it is, you would say, blazing trails, right? A lot of times the work in the smaller companies isn't really well defined. Like, it's not like you're going to have some person building a backlog of changes, then you'll just be working off the list of changes. Usually you're the one that's going to have to build the list of changes that you want to make. And you might come up with that list by just having conversations with people that are using the system and trying to look for ways that you could make their lives easier. So a lot of what you'll have to do is make recommendations of ways that you could be using Salesforce and try to coach the sales team of actually how to use it. So it's a lot more interaction with the sales team and a lot of trying to just come up with ideas and ways that the team could be using Salesforce more efficiently. So I personally, I like working with the small companies over the large companies. I think, again, I guess they both have pros and cons, but I certainly like the flexibility of working in small organizations. Maybe it's just an org that has like 2 or 3 users in it, and you get to work very closely with those people and just try to make their lives better. It's a different world working with small company versus a 1,000-person company, and you could look at it, if you're starting out in your career and you just got sucked into Salesforce. I've seen some people think like, okay, in order to progress the career, I'm going to have to work for a larger company. I don't necessarily think that's the case, but I would say enjoy working for the small company, try to add value, and try to always be keeping a list of things that you're implementing so that if you decide you do want to make a move, you have that list of things that you've accomplished already, and you can use that to land a different job. I would also recommend, because if you're the only person at the small company that's doing Salesforce, it'll be important to get ideas from other people. So make sure you're spending a lot of time in user groups and attending those meetings, trying to go to conferences, and just try to use those as ways to get ideas of ways that you could be leveraging Salesforce that you're not using right now. Always be reading up on release notes, and yeah, so I think that's about it. So, I've talked about the large companies, the small companies. I think in the next video, I'll try to give a better idea of what it's like for that middle area, what I actually think of as like more of consulting. And yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know and I'll get back to you. Thanks and have fun.